On my 29th birthday, I found out from Facebook that family threw a lavish party for my sister. Mom wrote, "She's the only one worth baking for." I smiled and hit send on 3 emails. You know that feeling when you just know something's wrong, but you're desperately hoping you're mistaken? Well, that hope absolutely shattered the moment I saw it. There, plastered across my Facebook feed, just 7 minutes before my 29th birthday officially began, was a photo of my sister, Electra, at a surprise party. The caption? "The only girl worth celebrating." My stomach dropped straight to my shoes. I was at work, scrolling idly, when my thumb just froze. The post burned into my retinas like acid. A surprise party. For my sister. "The only girl worth celebrating," read the caption, mocking me beneath a cluster of grinning faces. And there was Electra, center stage as always, doing her fake surprise pose, one hand pressed to her chest, the other waving for the camera. But the real gut punch? My mother's comment, just below, "At least someone is worth baking for." My whole world just spun. Then my eyes locked onto the glossy tech bag on the table beside Electra. The exact laptop model I'd spent 18 months saving for. Its distinctive logo peeked out from tissue paper. My hand trembled so hard, I had to physically set my phone down before I dropped it. The office around me hummed along, keyboards clicking, phones ringing, coffee brewing, but I was perfectly still. A statue of composure, trying to hide the earthquake ripping through me. "Bathroom," I muttered to no one, rising from my desk with robotic precision. The fluorescent bathroom lights flickered as I gripped the cold porcelain sink, my knuckles white. 1 deep breath. 2. 3. I stared at my reflection at Maya Hernandez. 29 years old today, though apparently not worth remembering. One single, rogue tear dared to escape before I could stop it. I wiped it away with the back of my hand, leaving a small smudge of mascara on my cheek. "Everything okay in there?" Sarah's voice, full of genuine concern, followed by a gentle knock. "Fine." I called back, my voice steadier than I had any right to expect. "Just a minute." I straightened my shoulders, watching the hurt in my eyes harden into determination. This wasn't new. This was just the final, undeniable proof I needed. My mind raced, unwanted memories bubbling to the surface. 16-year-old me, stirring spaghetti sauce, solving algebra problems with my textbook propped against the sugar canister. My dad, sprawled on the couch with a 14-year-old Electra, both laughing at her video game antics, while Mom cheered her virtual victories. "Dinner's ready," I'd called. 5 more minutes, Dad had answered without looking up. "Electra's about to beat her high score." Dinner grew cold. My homework remained half-finished. Another flash. The empty auditorium seats at my senior speech awards ceremony. The polite applause from strangers as I accepted the plaque. The text from Mom, "Sorry, honey. Electra wasn't feeling well. We'll celebrate later." And then the stark contrast, Electra's school play 2 weeks later. My parents arrived an hour early with flowers. The standing ovation they led. The dinner out afterward where Mom kept saying, "Our little star." I blinked away the memories and returned to my desk with measured steps. Sarah glanced up, still concerned, but I waved her off with a practiced, brittle smile. My computer screen glowed as I opened my banking app, clicking through to the payments history. There it was, in black and white. Automatic transfers, month after month, year after year. When totaled, the staggering sum, $34,445. Over 40 months. Nearly 35,000 reasons why I live in a tiny apartment while Electra enjoys her downtown loft. Why my retirement account holds pocket change while she posts Instagram stories from weekend getaways. Why I've worn the same winter coat for 6 years while she models a new one each season. My gaze landed on the small orange bear keychain hanging from my monitor. The only gift Electra ever gave me. Plucked from a carnival prize pile when we were children. "The pink one's prettier," she had declared, clutching it to her chest. "You can have the ugly orange one." And Mom had nodded in agreement. I unhooked the keychain, its synthetic fur worn thin from years of absent-minded touching. All these years, I'd kept it as a talisman, a desperate symbol of the connection I'd hoped would strengthen someday. The office printer hummed nearby. Someone laughed at a joke. Outside, Seattle traffic flowed beneath gray skies. But inside me, something shifted. A tectonic plate of patience, fracturing after decades of unbearable pressure. "No more," I whispered, closing my fist around the bear. The words felt foreign, yet so perfectly right, like trying on clothes that finally fit after years of wearing hand-me-downs. No more. No more. Later that night, my apartment walls felt like they were closing in as I spread the bills across my kitchen table. $648 for rent. $82 for electricity. $230 for groceries. Numbers that should add up to a manageable life on my salary as a product operations analyst. But there it was, the seventh bill in the row, the one that didn't belong to me, Owen Whitaker. $750. Auto payment scheduled for the 1st. I traced my finger along the landlord's name on the bank statement. Not my landlord. Electra's. The auto payment I'd maintained for 38 consecutive months, while my sister bounced between 3 jobs, each ending with the same forwarded termination emails in my inbox. Performance inconsistencies, the most recent one read. Excessive absences. Words that should have consequences, but somehow never did. Not for Electra. My phone pinged with a voicemail notification. Dad. Maya, honey. His voice filled my tiny living room, that familiar coaxing tone he reserved for asking favors. Need about $700 for a special plan this weekend. Nothing serious. Call me back when you get a chance. Not if I can help. When I can help. The assumption was so deeply embedded, it didn't even require questioning. I opened my travel fund app. The balance, $178.43. The Greece trip I've pictured since college remains digital brochures and saved articles. My retirement account showed $4,282, pathetic for a 29-year-old, according to every financial advisor ever born. The math was simple. $750 monthly to Electra's rent multiplied by 38 months equals $28,500. Add the emergencies, the car repairs, the dental work Dad couldn't quite cover, and we arrived at $34,445. The number burned in my brain like a brand. I pulled out an old photo album from beneath the coffee table. 3rd grade. The regional spelling bee. Mom had promised to come, but Electra's dance recital conflicted. Next time, she'd said, patting my head. Electra needs me there. She gets so nervous. The speech workshop cancellation notification from sophomore year sat in a folder behind it, due to insufficient funds. The email explained after Mom redirected the $180 registration fee to Electra's summer dance intensive. She has real talent, Mom had insisted. Your grades are already good. Then there was the graduation dress, originally mine. The red wine Electra spilled on it accidentally, 3 days before my ceremony. But it looks better on her anyway, Mom had declared as Electra twirled in my altered dress at her junior prom. Red complements her skin tone. I moved to my laptop and opened my bank account. Again. $6,432 in savings. It should be $40,000. It would be, without the steady drain of Electra's needs. My finger hovered over Instagram. I shouldn't look. But I did. There she was. Electra at Camelback Mountain. Phoenix sun glinting off her sunglasses. Posted 3 days after texting me, need rent money early this month, power might get shut off. For posts later, the designer bag. Unmistakable logo glinting in the sunlight. Purchased the day after I sent her $600 for an unexpected medical expense. She's just more sensitive than you. Dad's voice echoed from countless conversations. You've always been our rock, Maisie Daisy. So self-sufficient. Self-sufficient by necessity. Responsible because someone had to be. I grabbed the orange bear keychain from my desk and sank into my worn couch, turning the small trinket between my fingers. The fur, once bright orange, had faded to a dull amber, patches worn completely bare from years of nervous handling. The pink one's prettier, Electra had announced at the carnival, 8 years old and already certain of her preferences. You can have the ugly orange one. Orange is ugly, Mom had agreed, smoothing Electra's hair. But Maya doesn't mind, do you, sweetie? And I hadn't minded. Or said I hadn't. I'd slipped the orange bear onto my backpack and carried it for 16 years, through high school, college, and into my adult life. A constant reminder of what I'd been taught, that I deserved less. That my role was to fill the gaps, patch the holes, bear the weight. All night I sat, turning the bear between my fingers, watching the shadows shift across my apartment walls as night surrendered to morning. The first hint of sunrise colored my window as I finally set the keychain down on my coffee table. I retrieved a small wooden box from my bedroom closet, placed the bear inside, and closed the lid with a decisive click. The weight of the decision settled over me like armor as I opened my laptop. The screen illuminated my face in the dim morning light as my fingers hovered over the keyboard. 3 emails. That's all it would take. I typed the first address, Owen Whitaker. The words flowed as the sun rose, my fingers striking keys with growing certainty. With each word, I felt something long dormant awakening, not just anger, though there was plenty of that. Something more sustainable. Self-respect. The 3 emails sat as drafts in my inbox, each one a key turning in a lock I'd kept sealed for years. I checked the clock. 5:17 a.m. I'd been awake all night, drafting, deleting, and redrafting these messages until every word stood firm as a soldier. The first email, addressed to Owen Whitaker, began with a professional courtesy that masked the tremor in my fingers. Dear Mr. Whitaker, I'm writing to inform you that effective immediately, I will no longer be making payments toward my sister Electra Hernandez's rent at 1445 Belmont Avenue. This arrangement was intended as temporary assistance and has continued for 40 months. Please direct all future communication regarding this property to the tenant. Respectfully, Maya Hernandez. Short, clear, final. The second email to my bank contained similarly precise language, canceling the $750 automatic payment that had drained my account on the first of every month since Electra's temporary setback 3.5 years ago. The third email, addressed to my family, took the longest to craft. The subject line read simply, financial boundaries, effective immediately. Inside was an itemized spreadsheet documenting every single dollar I'd provided, $34,445 over 40 months. Rent payments, utility bailouts, emergency cash transfers that somehow funded weekend getaways, the birthday laptop. I added a brief message above the spreadsheet. I've supported Electra financially for 3+ years at significant personal cost. This arrangement ends today. I'm not available for discussion on this matter. Please respect my decision. My finger hovered over the send button on the first email. The kitchen felt unnaturally quiet, the humming refrigerator the only witness to what I was about to do. I pressed send. A swoosh sound confirmed its departure. The second email followed immediately after. When I reached the third email, I paused, my heart hammering against my ribs. This was the one that would detonate everything. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and clicked send. The weight lifted so suddenly, I felt dizzy. I stood up from my small kitchen table, stretched my arms overhead, and actually laughed, a sound so foreign in this apartment that it startled me. Freedom tastes like coffee brewed at dawn after a sleepless night of reclaiming your life. My phone began ringing at 7:23 a.m. Mom. I silenced it. It rang again. Mom again. I silenced it. By 8:15, I declined 12 calls from her. At 8:32, a text from Dad lit up my screen. Your sister is crying. Call us immediately. I didn't. The voicemail notification appeared at 9:47 while I was showering. Electra's message played as I towel-dried my hair. You've ruined everything. How am I supposed to pay rent? Where am I supposed to live? Mom and Dad are freaking out. You can't just, her voice cracked with rage. You selfish bitch. After everything we've done for you, I deleted the message halfway through, a small, knowing smile playing on my lips. Everything they've done for me. The irony would be funny if it weren't so painful. By noon, the family group chat exploded. Aunts, uncles, cousins, most of whom hadn't bothered to acknowledge my existence in years, suddenly had opinions about my abandonment of family duties. Uncle Robert, family helps family, period. Aunt Teresa, Your sister needs support right now. Cousin Derek. Wow, cold. I muted the chat and headed to work, walking taller than I had in years. A surprise awaited me at my desk. A hand-drawn birthday card signed by the entire department and a single chocolate cupcake with a candle. Sarah, from the desk beside mine, smiled sheepishly. We remembered it was your birthday yesterday. Sorry it's late. My throat tightened. I didn't tell them it was the first birthday acknowledgement I'd received all year. My phone pinged with a text from my cousin Tamsin. Just heard about your email. About time. Flowers headed your way tomorrow. Happy belated birthday, warrior. After work, I walked into the tech store, the same one where I'd spotted that laptop in Electra's birthday photo. The sales associate smiled as I approached. I'd like the XPS 17, please. The one with the i9 processor and 32 gigabytes RAM. Excellent choice. He didn't know I'd been saving for this exact model for 18 months. He didn't know its twin now sat on my sister's desk, purchased with my parents' money. He simply saw a woman making a purchase she could afford, and his smile felt like validation. As he processed my credit card, I imagined what I'd do with the money I'd save each month now. Travel fund. Retirement account. Maybe even a place with a balcony someday. The phone rang just after dinner. Owen Whitaker's name flashed on the screen. I answered with steady composure. Miss Hernandez? I received your email this morning, but there seems to be some confusion. Your sister claims she wasn't aware of this arrangement ending, and Mr. Whitaker, I interrupted, keeping my voice level. I understand this puts you in an awkward position, but my financial arrangement with that property has concluded. Please work directly with Electra on any matters moving forward. A pause stretched between us. I see. Well, I suppose I'll need to discuss payment options with her directly then. That would be best. Thank you for understanding. Of course. Have a good evening. I ended the call and felt a rush of something powerful flooding my chest. For 3 years, I'd paid this man's mortgage while my sister lived in a downtown loft with stainless appliances and a doorman. For 3 years, I'd come home to peeling paint and a window unit air conditioner that sounded like a dying lawnmower. No more. I sank onto my second-hand couch, closing my eyes. My phone continued to buzz with notifications, but they felt distant now, like they were happening to someone else. Tonight, for the first time in years, I'd sleep without worrying about anyone's financial problems but my own. When I finally crawled into bed, I thought about what tomorrow would bring. More calls. More accusations. Maybe even a surprise visit. But for the first time, I wasn't afraid of their reactions. Whatever storm came, I'd built myself a shelter of self-respect, strong enough to withstand it. I drifted into sleep almost immediately, my body surrendering to exhaustion, but my mind finally, blissfully at peace. 2 days later, my new job promotion in Boston was confirmed. But that day, the lobby security desk phone rang precisely at 2:14 p.m. I glanced up from my spreadsheet to see Jules North, our building security guard, gesturing at me through the glass partition. Miss Hernandez, there's someone here insisting on seeing you. Says she's your mother. His eyes telegraphed concern. She seems upset. My stomach dropped as I peered past him. Mom stood in the lobby, arms crossed, foot tapping a furious rhythm against the polished floor. Her pearl earrings caught the fluorescent light as she scanned the office, searching for me. I'll be right there, I told Jules, closing my laptop with steady hands that belied the earthquake inside. Sarah raised her eyebrows from the next desk. Everything okay? Family drama. The words tasted bitter. Cover for me? Take your time. She slid her chair toward my desk protectively. I'll tell Peterson you're on a client call. The lobby doors whooshed open as I stepped through. Mom's perfume, the same floral scent she's worn since I was 5, hit me before her words did. Finally, we need to talk about this ridiculous email. Her voice carried across the lobby. 2 receptionists pretended not to notice while typing faster. I'm at work, Mom. I guided her toward the side door. We can discuss this after 5. Jules watched us, hand hovering near his desk phone. I gave him a subtle nod. I'm okay. Outside, Seattle's perpetual drizzle misted my blazer as Mom grabbed my arm. Family doesn't abandon family. Her whisper cut sharper than a shout. Do you know what you've done to your sister? She can't eat, can't sleep. We'll discuss this after work hours at my apartment. I maintained eye contact, my voice calm but firm. 6 o'clock. Victor and Electra will be there too. It's not a request. Fine. She blinked, clearly expecting more resistance. When I turned without another word, she called after me. This isn't who we raised you to be, Maya. I paused at the door. No, it's who I'm choosing to be now. The rest of the afternoon crawled by in 15-minute increments. I rearranged the living room of my tiny apartment in my mind. 3 chairs plus the love seat would barely fit. I'd need to move the coffee table. At 5:58 p.m., the doorbell rang. They're early. They filled my apartment like smoke, seeping into every corner. Dad entered first, his broad shoulders making the space shrink. Mom followed, eyes scanning, cataloging, judging. Electra trailed behind, eyes red-rimmed, shoulders hunched in her designer coat. The one I recognized from the Instagram post 2 days after her desperate call for rent money. Would anyone like water? I offered, strangely calm now that the moment had arrived. Water. Electra's voice cracked. I don't understand what I did wrong, and you're offering water? She collapsed onto my love seat, face crumpling. The performance began. Dad sat beside her, his arm around her shoulders. Your sister is fragile right now, Maya. This situation with her job. Which job? I asked, genuinely curious. The marketing position she lost in January, or the graphic design job she was fired from in March. Electra's sobbing paused briefly, her eyes starting to dad. Mom stepped forward. That's exactly why she needs support right now until she stabilizes. For jobs in 2 years isn't instability, Mom. It's a pattern. I moved to my desk in the corner, opening my laptop. The projector I borrowed from work hummed to life, casting a blue glow on my bare wall. What are you doing? Mom demanded. Providing context. I clicked through to my organized files. This is Electra's termination email from Web Team Creative. The text filled the wall. The phrases, excessive absences, and final warning highlighted in yellow. Dad frowned, leaning forward. We knew about this, but... These are screenshots from her Phoenix vacation, posted 3 days after I sent her an emergency $900 for rent. I advanced through images of Electra lounging by resort pools, shopping bags at her feet. That was Electra started, then fell silent as I continued. Bank statements showing $34,445 transferred over 40 months. The numbers glowed accusingly. My retirement account balance. A pathetically small sum appeared. My student loan balance. A painfully large number followed. The room fell silent except for the hum of the projector fan. Electra stared at the floor. Dad looked genuinely stunned, his mouth slightly open. Mom's lips pressed into a thin white line. I stood straighter, shoulders back. For the first time in this cramped apartment, I felt like I could breathe. I'm not asking for permission, I said quietly. I'm informing you of my decision. The payments have stopped. Permanently. Electra's head snapped up. But how am I supposed to, the same way other adults do, I replied. Work. Budget. Make choices. Dad cleared his throat. Maya, I didn't realize the extent of. I've accepted a promotion, I continued. Senior Operations Lead. In Boston. Boston. Electra whispered, genuine shock breaking through her facade. For once, her surprise didn't seem performed. I leave in 4 weeks. Mom stepped forward. You can't just, I can. 2 simple words, but they hung in the air with newfound weight. Dad's arm dropped from Electra's shoulder. He studied the financial figures still projected on my wall, then looked at me, really looked at me, perhaps for the first time in years. I didn't realize, he repeated. Softer now. Something shifted in his expression. The first crack in his enabling armor. The projector continued to hum as the 4 of us sat suspended in this moment of truth, each contemplating the new reality taking shape in the confines of my small apartment. After years of imbalance, the scales had finally tipped. She has always been more sensitive than you. Mom, her name is Lorena, was pacing my tiny living room, her heels clicking against the hardwood like a ticking time bomb. From the day she was born, the doctor said she needed extra attention. I leaned back against my kitchen counter, arms crossed, watching this familiar performance. The script hadn't changed in 29 years, only now I could see it for what it was. Electra has special challenges, Lorena continued, her voice rising to that practiced pitch of maternal martyrdom. You've always been so capable. She made the words sound like an accusation. Dad, his name is Victor, shifted uncomfortably on my second-hand couch, glancing between us. Electra sat beside him, mascara strategically smeared, tissues clutched in a white-knuckled fist. We're not asking for much, Lorena said, stopping to fix me with a look that once would have made me reach for my checkbook. Just continue the payments until she stabilizes. Another 6 months, maybe a year. And then what? My voice came out steadier than I felt. Another year after that, and another? You're choosing money over blood. Lorena's eyes narrowed. Is that laptop really worth destroying your family? The laugh escaped before I could stop it. Short, sharp, and utterly without humor. This isn't about a laptop. This is about $34,000 and years of being treated like an ATM with legs. That's not fair, Victor interjected weakly. No, it wasn't fair, I agreed, looking directly at him. It wasn't fair when you missed my college graduation because Electra had a cold. It wasn't fair when I worked 2 jobs while she found herself on my dime. And it certainly wasn't fair when you all forgot my birthday, but threw her a surprise party 7 minutes before midnight. Electra flinched at this, something unscripted flickering across her face. I'm choosing self-respect over enabling, I continued, feeling something shift in the room as the words landed. And if that's destroying our family, then what exactly are we preserving? Silence fell, heavy with the weight of decades of unspoken truths. For the first time, I saw uncertainty in Lorena's eyes. Her mouth opened, closed, no ready response available in her arsenal of manipulation. Victor stared at the floor, shoulders slumped. Then something unexpected happened. Electra's breathing changed, becoming ragged and uneven. Her perfect tear-streaked makeup began to run in earnest as the practiced sobs transformed into something raw and real. I can't, she gasped, dropping the tissues. I don't know how to do this on my own. The confession hung in the air between us. The first honest words my sister had spoken to me in years. I felt my resolve waver. That old instinct to rush in and fix everything rising like muscle memory. But I planted my feet firmly on the floor of my apartment, the apartment I could barely afford because of her. You can learn, I said, my voice gentler but no less firm. But I won't do it for you anymore. Electra looked up, meeting my eyes directly. Something passed between us. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But perhaps recognition. For the first time, she was seeing me as a person with limits, rather than an endless resource. How? How? Her voice sounded smaller, stripped of its usual performance. The same way I did. One step at a time. Victor cleared his throat, drawing our attention. His eyes were red-rimmed, hands clasped tightly in his lap. I've failed you both, he said quietly. The words seemed to cost him something essential. Especially you, Maya. My breath caught. In 29 years, I'd never heard him acknowledge this. I minimized you because you seemed so self-reliant, he continued, his voice rough with emotion. You never complained, never caused trouble. It was easier to focus on the squeaky wheel. He stood, approaching me with hesitant steps. I don't expect forgiveness. But I'd like a chance to do better. To be the father you deserved all along. The sincerity in his voice reached something deep inside me. A childish hope I thought long buried. But hope can be dangerous without boundaries. Words are easy, I said. I need to see real actions. Name them, he said simply. I took a deep breath. Electra needs a job with an employment contract I can verify. She needs a working budget she sticks to. And both of you should consider therapy. Lorena opened her mouth to protest, but Victor silenced her with a look. And the financial support? He asked. Ends today, I answered. But emotional support with boundaries? That door remains conditionally open. But Victor nodded slowly, then did something he hadn't done in years. He stepped forward and hugged me. Not the perfunctory embrace of obligation, but something real and solid. For a moment, I allowed myself to lean into it. to feel the tentative reconnection. When they left 20 minutes later, the apartment felt different. Emptier, yet somehow more mine than before. I poured myself a glass of wine and stood by the window, watching them walk to their car below. Lorena's stiff back, Victor's hand hesitantly touching Electra's shoulder, my sister's uncharacteristic quiet. I didn't know if they'd meet my terms. I didn't know if real change was possible after so many years of established patterns. But for the first time since I can remember, the decision wasn't mine to make. I touched the cool glass of the window, seeing my reflection overlap with the world outside. There's peace in this moment. Not the false peace of capitulation, but the true peace that comes from standing firmly in your own truth. No matter what happens next, I found the one boundary that matters most. The one around my own worth. The morning sun streams through sheer curtains, painting golden stripes across my Boston apartment. I stand by the window, coffee mug warming my palms as I take in the city skyline, my skyline now. The view from the 12th floor still surprises me each morning, like a gift I'm continually unwrapping. 1 year, I whisper to my reflection in the window glass. 1 year since I closed my hand around that worn orange bear keychain and whispered, no more. My phone buzzes on the counter. Tamsin. Just landed. Can't wait to see your place. Boston's freezing compared to Arizona. I smile, typing back. Bringing an extra sweater to the airport. See you in an hour. The apartment feels different today, adorned with modest decorations for my 30th birthday celebration. Simple white fairy lights drape across bookshelves. Fresh flowers, my own choice, not an obligation or afterthought, brighten the dining table. A small cake from the bakery down the street waits in the refrigerator. This birthday, my choice, my terms. I open the wooden keepsake box on my desk, the one that holds the orange bear keychain. What once symbolized exclusion now represents the moment I chose myself. I run my finger over its worn fur before closing the lid. Dr. Calloway would be proud. During yesterday's therapy session, she noted how my posture has changed, shoulders back, chin lifted, voice steady. You've reclaimed your space in the world, she said. Not just the physical space of this new city, but the emotional space you deserve. The chime of my laptop interrupts my thoughts. Dad's video call. Happy birthday, Maya, he says when I answer, his smile tentative but genuine. The background shows his familiar living room, but something's different. He's sitting at the desk he finally assembled after years of promising to do it. Thanks, Dad. Got your card, right? I sent it last week. I did. The bookstore gift card was perfect. He nods, relief visible. Listen, I want you to know I'm proud of you. The promotion, the move, everything. The words hang between us. Unfamiliar but welcome. 2 visits in the past year have begun rebuilding what was broken. One careful conversation at a time. How's Electra doing? I ask. For months at the pharmacy now. Her manager says she hasn't missed a shift. His voice carries surprise rather than the automatic defense it once held. She's finishing those bookkeeping classes next month. That's good to hear. We talk for 15 more minutes before saying goodbye, not the marathon problem-solving sessions of before, but something healthier. When I end the call, I notice Mom's brief text wishing me happy birthday. The message is neither warm nor cold, just acknowledging. It's enough. My doorbell rings at noon. Emma and Rachel arriving early to help set up for the small gathering. Friends who know my history but don't define me by it. Friends who value boundaries. The birthday girl. Emma announces, handing me a gift bag while Rachel carries in a bottle of wine. We're laughing in the kitchen when my phone pings with an email notification. Electra's name appears in my inbox for the first time in months. The subject line reads, Your day. I hesitate before opening it, excusing myself to the bedroom for a moment of privacy. The message is short. Happy birthday, Maya. I've been thinking about last year and all the years before. I took advantage of your love because it was easier than standing on my own. I'm trying to do better now. Enjoy your day. Not a full apology, but acknowledgement. Progress. I type a response, encouraging her efforts while maintaining the boundaries that have allowed us both to grow. When I return to my friends, I'm smiling. Later, as Tamsin helps arrange appetizers and we wait for the other guests, I catch a glimpse of myself in the hallway mirror. I'm 30 years old today. Smaller in family, perhaps, but richer in peace. The woman looking back at me stands tall, no longer bearing the weight of others' responsibilities. This birthday, I am the one worth celebrating.